Hello everybody, this is Chris Bird or Monkey Dude 1313 and this is episode 7, Master Set Monday. Before you click off, we are going to be diving into the Charizard binder again today, so you might want to stay tuned. But for a little bit of intro, Master Set Monday is a series where we go through a completed set from the Pokemon TCG. In this case, we're going all the way back to the 4th set ever made in English. If you're interested though, our previous video was Wishlist Wednesday, where we went over Supreme Victors, a set from the Forgotten Era of Pokemon, and it probably has a lot of cards you've never seen before. Before that was Shadowless Unlimited, where we were only missing one card. If you like old vintage stuff, you should definitely go check out that video. And before I get into Team Rocket here, if you're interested in seeing other Rocket things, you should go check out our Master Set Monday episode 6 from last week, where we go into Destined Rivals. One of the most recent sets, one of the most beautiful sets, and boy howdy is it expensive. So go check out last week's Master Set Monday if you're interested. Alright, Team Rocket, I've spoiled it enough. Let's jump right in. Alright, the first thing you'll notice, aside from a page of beautiful cards, is a post-it note that says Lizardon. That's because I keep all of the Charizards in this Charizard binder because he is my favorite Pokemon. So, before we go in too much, let's take a little bit of a gander at the page in the Charizard binder. So, sorry for the glare. It's in a little bit of a funky spot. But the way we store these Charizards is in chronological order, from oldest to newest. So this is actually not the first page. I'm not showing you the first page right now. But we got to pull out the Holo Unlimited Dark Charizard. We got to pull out the non-Holo Unlimited Dark Charizard. And we got to pull out the first edition non-Holo Dark Charizard. However, that's not all of them. We do not own many graded cards, but this one, a BGS 8 first edition Dark Charizard Holo, was gifted to me by a friend. And so instead of keeping it in the binder with the rest of the cards, I keep it slabbed. So we can talk about this in a little bit. But as we go through the set, we can be throwing these Charizards back into the binder where they belong. So first, we can take out this card here, throw in Unlimited Charizard. Boom. First page complete. I got these cards maybe 11 years ago when I was a very irresponsible college student, let's say. And the choice was pay rent and or eat food this month, or go on eBay and spend $100 for some Team Rocket Pokemon cards. And judging by the binder here, you can tell which one I chose. But luckily for me, that eBay seller had beautiful, beautiful near mint copies of every single holo. Which means that not only did we get a steal buying that set, but also all of the cards are extremely clean. Fantastic cards. I'm not going to pull out too many of the Unlimiteds because I know you're all itching to get to the first editions, but I'll pull out the Dark Dragonite. Beautiful, beautiful Dark Dragonite there. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Alright, so speaking of Dark Dragonite, I pulled out a few cards from our other master sets so that I can do a little bit of a comparison for you. And here is the Dark Dragonite from EX Team Rocket Returns. A little bit of a different story, you know. It's a much obviously a much darker card compared to this one, and it's just an amazing art. I think it's really cool. Thank you, Car. And I just thought I'd show it to you. Very neat card. You know, it's not in the greatest condition. It's got some silver streaks here, but great card nonetheless. And that complements this vintage Dark Dragonite quite well. Alright, Dark Gyarados. Let me pull this dude out. Give you a nice look over. The beautiful Cosmos Holo there, and a little swirl under his belly there. Very cool. I guess all of that is his belly? The whole thing? Snakes are weird. Okay, so what I wanted to pull out for these was Gym Challenge. First, we have Giovanni's Magikarp. I assume you guys are okay with me calling Giovanni Team Rocket. Giovanni is the leader of Team Rocket, so it counts. Gym Challenge First Edition Giovanni's Magikarp, and more importantly, First Edition Gym Challenge Giovanni's Gyarados. Very cool as well. Got a wonderful swirl there. But nice to see cards from 2 sets apart. Team Rocket versus Gym Challenge. Still repping Gyarados and Team Rocket. Love it. Very, very, very cool. Hypno. Pull out Hypno here. One of the best Hypno arts, in my opinion, probably ever. Not only does it have the big eyes in the background, the 2 prominent ones here, and then some smaller ones, but also the whole idea of him actively hypnotizing you rather than just kind of standing there menacingly, I think is very neat. And we can compare that to the EX Team Rocket Returns Dark Hypno. Similarly active art, similarly shadowed. Very awesome card. All right, now, next page. Starting with Dark Machamp. Dark Machamp is neat because this is the second time Machamp got a card. And the first time was when everyone got a free one, quote-unquote free, in their starter deck, where the first edition Machamp became one of the cards everyone had at the time on the playground. So, Dark Machamp here, looking quite awesome. And I would like to pull out some similar Gym Challenge cards again. First, we have Giovanni's Machop here. Neat card. It evolves into Giovanni's Machoke. And finally, into Giovanni's Machamp. I don't have him in first edition yet, so I had to pull out the unlimited copy. But very awesome. Very cool set of cards here. Similarly, 2 sets apart, like we were just talking about. Skip over Magneton for now. Pull out Dark Slowbro. Slowbro was the farthest evolution of Slowpoke, the Slowpoke line. So they counted this as Team Rocket's Slowbro. But of course, later on, and not very later on, because in the very next generation, we would get Slowking. And Slowking became the de facto Team Rocket's slow blank Pokemon. So they have Slowking now instead of Slowbro, but I just thought it was kind of cool to point that out. All right, Vileplume. This was the last unlimited card we needed for this master set. Last unlimited, not last first edition. And we got this from Tofu's Trading here in the Bay. So very cool card to get. It was in very solid condition. Very happy about that. All right, so here's another post-it note. Dark Charizard, or Darazard, as we have written it here, gets replaced with unlimited non-holo Dark Charizard. So we can throw that into the binder there. Done. Very good. Second page complete. Fun fact about Dark Dragonite. Since each of the holos got a non-holo reprint, the number on the bottom of the card had to be different. So Dark Dragonite holo is number 5, and this one is card number 22. However, there's an error, a corrected error, which is what makes errors valuable or not, that sometimes the non-holo will show the holo number 5, and sometimes the holos will show the non-holo number 22. So if you have any Dark Dragonites, look out for that error. You may be in luck. Make some extra value on that card. All right, so given all that, we can do another flip here. Some more wonderful cards. Finally, we're seeing ones that aren't really in the holo section. For example, this Dark Electrode here. Not going to pull it out. It looks pretty basic. But again, in Team Rocket Returns, we got another Dark Electrode. Much more aggressive art here. You know, actually doing something rather than just kind of sitting there in a city. But very nice nonetheless. All right. Dark Flareon, Jolteon, and Vaporeon here. Fan favorites. And I personally think all of these cards should have been holos. Not at the time, of course. It doesn't make sense for set layouts and everything, but I absolutely adore all of this art. It's all fantastic. I think they did a fantastic job with it, and I would love to see holos. I'm a little biased because I like Charizard, but holo Dark Charmeleon would be sweet. Okay, Dark Persian. Dark Persian got multiple prints, not just the 4 in this set. First edition, 2 in this set. First edition and unlimited non-holos. But it also got printed twice in the Legendary Collection. But unfortunately, those are not what we're here for. What we're actually here for is Team Rocket's Meowth. Love it. Amazing card from Destined Rivals. Check out our master set last week. And Giovanni's Meowth from Gym Challenge, first edition. Very nice. And Giovanni's Persian. Another great card from Gym Challenge. Another swirl there. Nice. Moving right along. Let's flip through to the end of the Unlimiteds. Nice, nice. This is card number 63 out of 82. So we can keep going. All right. We have the non-holo versions of these trainers here. Very cool. Imposter Oak's Revenge. An amazing art for this card. I really like this. Also, Challenge was fantastic. If you ever played the game at the time, you always put Challenge in your deck because it was amazing to play and a lot of fun. I'm not going to do this last flip just yet because this last flip will actually show off all the first editions we have for the set. So instead, I am going to do a little bit of a future jump in this case. 2 sets in the future. We can talk about Giovanni and how he's the leader of Team Rocket. When you play the games, when you're in Viridian City, you pass by his gym, but his gym is empty, and he's mysteriously busy, so you don't get to fight him. Turns out he's the 8th gym leader. A little bit of spoilers for the game from almost 20 years later. Oh, wow, oof, okay, almost 26 years later. But yeah, Giovanni, very nice. Rocket's Mewtwo was not featured in this set. Rocket's Mewtwo is featured here in Gym Challenge, 2 sets after the Team Rocket set, and then again in Dust and Rivals and Team Rocket Returns. Rocket's Moltres, also not represented in the Team Rocket set, but then was represented in Team Rocket Returns and then Dust and Rivals. And Rocket Scyther was mentioned as an EX in Team Rocket Returns, but then was never heard from again. And Rocket's Hitmonchan, which just fell by the wayside forever. So there's some fun other Rockets Pokemon to sink your teeth into. All right, without further ado, the grand reveal of the first edition Holos. Ooh. We'll get to the post-it note in a second. First, we can talk about the secret rare, Dark Raichu. This was the first secret rare to ever exist. Well, not this specific one because it's not first edition, but Dark Raichu is the first secret rare to exist, meaning it's printed in the pack, but its number is after the set number. So this is 83 out of 82. Really cool card, worth quite a lot of money, and if you pulled one of these, you felt extra lucky at the time. All right, similarly, since Jungle was the first set that they had an official pre-release for, that would mean that the 4th set would have its own pre-release as well, and we have pre-release Dark Gyarados here. An amazing looking card, and amazingly affordable too, if you'd like to go find one of these yourself. So there's the pre-release gold stamp there. A little bit hard to see in certain lights. All right, Shadowless first edition. I don't know why I said Shadowless. Team Rocket Holos first edition. This page is beautiful. A lot of these cards we've had for quite a while, but cards like this Dark Blastoise we picked up at a D-Gen trade night. And this Blastoise, very clean, very nice. I like this card a lot. All right, so I can't fill in this gap. Unfortunately, it is impossible because a BGS 8 slab would go there. So this is the closest I can get you to a true grand reveal for the first edition holo page. But still looks amazing. I'm not sure if I'm going to break this guy out of the slab or not. The BGS 8 and raw price are similar enough. So I might just leave them in there for that. But for now, the post-it note of Dark Holo Charizard will remain. Okay, so let me pull out this Dark Dragonite. We haven't seen this one yet. This one I got in Fairfield, at a Fairfield card show from Minions. They're a vendor there. We have a lot of good deals with them. They're great guys. Let me also pull out this Alakazam that I have not pulled out at all yet, because I actually really like how they made the lighting on the top of the card here really illuminate Alakazam as a Pokemon. Since the Kensugamori art is usually kind of static, it's really nice to use the holo pattern and the background as a way to try and really emphasize the Pokemon. And you can actually also see quite a shimmery border around the Pokemon itself there, giving you a little bit of extra like a phase shift or teleport type thing there, which is very fitting because his first attack is Teleport Blast. All right, move on to the next page here. I have not yet pulled out Dark Magneton, so let's do that now. Wonderful card here. I really like how truly mirrored the background looks. I know there's a little bit of color and stuff back there, but I really like how simplistic it is with just the shadow of probably a Rocket minion. Could be a Rocket leader, they don't really tell you. I really like that background and holo pattern. All right, fun little story about Here Comes Team Rocket. Back when I was a kid playing the game, I bought all of my packs myself. But when Pokemon came out in 1999, I was 7. So what that meant is that all of the money I had made from working got put into Pokemon. I shouldn't say all, but a decent amount. And so I would ride my scooter over 2 miles on a Sunday morning to get my dad donuts from the local 7-Eleven, and I would also pick out the booster packs that were hanging out on the back of the wall behind the guy running the 7-Eleven. So usually they had both first edition and unlimited right next to each other, and the difference was a single dollar. So if you paid $1 more, you got the first edition pack, and if you paid the normal price, I think it was $3 or $4 at the time, I don't remember, you got the unlimited. And so I'm not going to waste $1 just for a stupid black stamp, right guys? So I basically never bought first edition packs. But where this ties in with Team Rocket, my dad didn't really view Pokemon as something to spend money on. It was something fun, and it was something to enjoy, and he was perfectly fine with me spending my money on it, but he didn't really think that this is something worth giving to someone. And so I never got cards from him, ever. Until Team Rocket had come out, and it was actually after Team Rocket came out. It was when Gym Heroes came out, and for my birthday one year, my dad gave me Here Comes Team Rocket and Brock's Rhydon from Gym Heroes. 2 singles that he had picked out from the local card shop, and I was over the moon. It was not only great to get 2 cards that I thought were amazing, you know, how can you not love this card, right? But also, it was the first time my dad had ever given me cards in any way. He hadn't even like driven me down to the store to buy them myself. You know, this was kind of like the first time he had ever been involved, and I thought that was really nice. And so I have very, very, very fond memories with Here Comes Team Rocket as a card. So fun little story there, but that's how it goes. Okay, so moving on, we can fill in this last spot in the binder with the non-holo first edition Dark Charizard. And now this binder has all but one of the cards. The remainder is in this slab here. But this set is absolutely fantastic, and I really, really enjoy the set itself. I love all the art. I love the new personality that they were able to give to the Pokemon, because now they're supposed to be dark, and so it gives kind of the artists a whole new freedom. You don't need to make this Pokemon a happy-go-lucky fun guy. You can now make him evil. You know, how would you make an otherwise helpful Pokemon evil? How do you make a cat evil? You know, that's not a difficult question, but you see what I mean, right? But anyway, I love the art in this set. So I'm going to pull up this Dark Slowbro first edition, because this is actually the last card we needed to complete the entire master set. And we got this, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think 3 weeks at this point. And what's interesting is we got VIP early access to a card show here in the Bay, and the third table we went to had this. And of course, we had been looking for this card for almost 6 months at that point. And who brings non-holo rares from Vintage to a card show? Most people who bring Vintage only bring the holos, or they might feel generous and bring a bulk box of commons and uncommons. But finding first edition non-holo rares in good condition is basically impossible at these card shows. So we go to this third booth, we see this in there, and one of the very, very few times ever I bought a card at sticker price. So this was his first sale as a vendor. And if I'm recalling the conversation correctly, I think he said this was his first sale ever as a vendor. But I could be mishearing, and it could have just been his first sale of the day. But I think it was his first sale as a vendor. So I got this and a Legendary Collection Holo Muck from him, and that's a really cool memory to have about this card. One other thing I like about it is when it's not holo, you get to see the background a lot clearer, and this green is very close to one of my favorite colors. So I really appreciate this card for that reason as well. But Dark Charmeleon, I should have pulled it out, but Dark Charmeleon has a W stamped variant, which comes from a Kraft macaroni, like mail-in thing from Australia, if I remember correctly. And so that Dark Charmeleon with the stamp that we also do have is almost $300. But this one here, I think first edition is 40, 30, 40, I don't know. The art's incredible. Love this card. very amazing. All right, so let's flip through the first editions. We can really soak them in. We can enjoy Magikarp here. And that will take us to the end of the Team Rocket Master Set. But on this last page, let's make sure I have it. First edition, Dark Raichu, the secret rare. We found this like 4 or 5 times at shows, at card shows where the vendors were selling them. But unfortunately, the vendors that I saw with this guy were always very... I'm trying to think of the correct and the nicest way to say it, but they were very closed off to going back and forth on a deal. It felt like they had decided their sticker price was gospel and they weren't accepting anything below that. Totally fine. You know, as a vendor, you're free to do that, and I totally respect that. But at the same time, the sticker price was also higher than what I felt actual market price was. So not only did I get greeted with kind of a closed engagement with someone where it doesn't really feel like there's much emotion, but also it was a price higher than I was expecting to spend, even if I was spending sticker. And if you guys have watched Oyama's ever, you know you almost never pay sticker if you're good at dealing. So difficult, you know, unfortunate to pass on this card so many times, but we finally found one, and I'm very happy we did. So that is the Master Set from Team Rocket. Base, the 4th set in the Gen 1 series. Absolutely gorgeous set. One of my favorites out of all the vintage sets. I'll put the Charizard back on there. And thank you guys for watching. It's really fun to go through some of these older sets that I have memories of when I was a kid, and I have memories recently when I'm going out and interacting with the community and trying to work on this set. So, 2 quick questions. The first one is, which of the dark Pokemon from this set do you like the art of the most? Not which is the most expensive, or not which ones do you have, but which of the arts do you like the most? Like, do you like the side profile of Blastoise, where either you see his full back or his full front, and not often the side? Or do you like the Hypno doing some actual hypnosing? I don't know what the verb is for that. So yeah, let me know what your favorite card from this set is, and catch you on Wednesday for a Wishlist Wednesday of a set that also has the word team in its title. So you could view this as double team week, where we have Team Rocket, and then we have Team something. Tune in on Wednesday, you won't want to miss it.